Hello, my name is Keya Mitra. It's such an honor to be published in Witness Magazine and to read. I'm so sorry I can't be here live, but I wanted to give a huge thank you to Witness Magazine, their staff and their editors for publishing my piece. It's a tremendous honor, and I'm so excited to hear other readers as well. So I'm going to read a short excerpt from my piece, South on Sisters, which is a nonfiction piece about my fall off the summit of South Sisters Mountain after the death of my best friend in Portland. So I'm starting after the first fall and beginning where I had a second fall. My prayers grew more desperate. 20 minutes or perhaps 2 hours later, I half limped, half crawled to another side of the mountain in pursuit of a trail. I emerged, bloody and disoriented, at the edge of a rock cliff with a 50-foot drop off. The rocks were slippery, the fall vertical, and at the bottom was another glacial lake. I wouldn't survive if I fell into it. Thank you, God, for saving my life again, I whispered. I added, even though I was an idiot. I edged down the rock cliff, my back to the lake, my grasp on the slippery rocks tenuous. My shoe slipped and my head thumped against a protruding rock as I fell 20, then 25 feet. I grabbed onto a slippery rock ledge, 15 feet above the glacial lake. I grunted, hoisting my weight onto the ledge. It took me 3 tries to balance on the ledge and step around the glacial lake where I confronted another rock cliff. For the next 10 hours or so, I edged down the mountain, disoriented and bleeding from my head, hands, and legs. At times, I crawled. At others, I moved like a crab. I'd started my hike during the early afternoon of July 26, 2015. I didn't make it down the mountain until after 9 a.m. on July 27th. By the end, I survived countless falls. Bloody and soaked, I finally reached level ground on the opposite side of the mountain from where I began my ascent. I limped past a camper who parked his tent near a log. The first time I saw him, I didn't say a word, not wanting to disturb him. The second time, I called from a distance. I'm sorry to bother you, I said, but I'm looking for my car. Can you tell me how to get to the parking lot? The man, who resembled Billy Bob Thornton, directed me towards the other side of the mountain. Mid-sentence, Billy Bob paused and took a closer look at me. The tree branches around us morphed into predators. One, a bear, another, a cheetah, a third, a cougar. In the distance, seals howled like wolves. Are there seals around here? I asked. After he shook his head, I persisted, sea lions, sea wolves? He stepped closer. My hands, arms, and legs bled. Are you okay? He asked. I had a little accident, I said, my voice lilting at the end of the sentence. I've always downplayed crises. When I was 7 years old, I played on the monkey bars in a playground while my sister took a piano lesson across the street. I'd convinced my mom that I could play by myself, and she waited in the house during my sister's lesson. As I swung from one ring to another, I lost my grasp and fell with a crunch onto the pebbly ground. I seized my right arm and rolled to my right side, but I didn't make a sound. After, my mom and sister ran to the playground, spotting my crumpled body. I said nothing. At the hospital, where I was diagnosed with a broken arm, I remained quiet. By the time of the accident, I'd spent 35 years perfecting the art of willing myself invisible. I'd been born in nearly all white, wealthy suburb with a massive black birthmark, the size of a nickel, centered on my forehead. My relatives in India proclaimed me a Buddha, an enlightened being. You have a third eye, my cousin in India pronounced on the flat roof of my mother's childhood home during my summer trips to Kolkata, India. But to my classmates in Texas, the mole, which protruded from my forehead and grew its own tiny hairs, was repulsive. Three eyes, the kids at school jeered in unison during gym class, stomping on the bleachers. In second grade, when the principal announced over the intercom that I'd won first place in the science fair, I remained expressionless, terrified that registering joy would invite more bullying. It was as though she didn't even hear the good news, the teacher said to my mother after school. The birthmark felt like a curse for years, but when I had it surgically removed in the sixth grade, after a dermatologist told my family it could turn into melanoma, I experienced phantom birthmark pain. Even though no one perceived me as hideous once the birthmark was gone, I continued to shrink from attention and minimize crises. I'm going to stop there. Thank you so much again for this opportunity. I'm absolutely thrilled to be published in Witness Magazine. And I'm so sorry to not be there in person, but it's such an honor to be here. Thank you.